Great. Now our score has changed to 1 from there, but there's no way to display it yet, and we'll do that soon. Alright, so first let's get the zombies to respawn. So I'm going to go into scene behaviors and create a new behavior. I could just do this as an event in the scene, and it works the same way, but as a behavior I can attach it to multiple scenes rather than having to recreate the code every time in case you want to do different levels. So I'll call this spawn, or I'll do zombie respawn and create. Alright, so this is going to be confusing. I actually had this set up and uploaded to the Stencil Forge originally, and in the overview video I talk about that. However, because there's been a different build between when I made the overview video and this video, apparently the code in Stencil Forge doesn't cross overwrite. So I keep getting an error and it crashes the game every time. So I just had to rebuild it. I couldn't find another way around it. I thought about rebuilding and putting up in Stencil Forge again, but I figured if someone watches this video 6 months from now, there's another build again. I didn't want them to have the same issue, so this is how you'd build it from scratch. So we're going to add event, and we're going to do when updating under basics there. So what this does is it runs every single frame at all times as long as the scene is active. And then we're going to go over to flow, and we're going to drag out an if statement under conditions. There's different tabs inside flow here, so don't miss that. And we'll drag that right on in. And we're going to go to attributes, and we're going to set up some attributes. So create an attribute, we're going to do, also this create an attribute doesn't matter if you're under setters or getters, as long as you're not under game attributes. Those are different. And you could technically do it with game attributes too, but it's going to be messier, and it's just easier to do it under the local ones. And again, I'll explain all this in another video. So create a new attribute, we're going to call this spawning. And we're going to change this to a boolean. Hidden doesn't matter right here, but I'm going to choose hidden. I'll explain why later. Create another one. I'm going to call this min time. And this is going to be a number. And this one I don't want hidden. Create another one called max time. Another number. Not hidden, and another attribute called spawn actor type. And we're going to choose actor type, not actor. Very important. And that one's also not hidden. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is over here on if, we're going to click this little drop down caret and go to comparison and not. And we're going to drag spawning in there. You could also click this caret, go down to attributes and choose spawning too. And if you need to get rid of a block, you can drag it up to this trash can. Okay, so if not spawning, we're going to go to setters. We're going to do set spawning to true. Now that seems counterintuitive, but it might make sense to you later, and if not, I'll explain in another video. Now I'm going to do under flow, under time, do after 0 seconds. And I'm going to change this to math random number between. I'm going to go to attributes, min time, attributes, you guessed it, max time. Just want to make sure that was snapped in there right. Sometimes things don't snap, you end up setting it on top of it and it doesn't quite snap in there. Just make sure you move it around and get it to snap in. Okay, so after X seconds, we're going to do back to attributes and set spawning to false. Alright, so now this seems pretty random and doesn't make much sense. So what it currently does is it's checking to see if spawning is true, and since it's not true, since it started as false, it will set it to true, and then after the minimum time and maximum time, which we'll set up later, it will turn it back to false so it can start this over again. So basically what it does is it locks you out of this. And again, I'll explain in another video because it doesn't make a lot of sense to you right now, I'm sure. So we're going to go into our palette, click scene, and we're going to do create actor, and we're going to stick this right up here. And now we're going to choose an attribute for our actor type, and we created this actor type earlier, this attribute earlier, so we're going to choose OK. You can also go to attributes and getters and drag this in here too. It does the same thing. Okay, So now we need to decide where we're going to spawn the actor. So on our gameplay scene, if you drag your cursor around down here in the bottom, you can see X and Y, and those move as you drag the cursor around. So the very top left corner, as you can see, is 0, 0, or as close as I can get to it. And then the very bottom corner, because of the screen, it's going to be 640 by 480, I believe. Yeah, that's the default scene for Stencil. So somewhere within those coordinates, we want a zombie to spawn again. Now how we're going to do that is set it up so it doesn't spawn off the screen, because when a zombie spawns, it'll actually spawn according to the coordinate up in the top left corner. So if you want this to spawn at 0, 0, this top left corner here will spawn right in the top left corner of the scene. So to prevent the zombie, for example, from spawning off the scene like this, you can't see it right at 480 or 640, we're going to do some finagling. I'm actually going to delete that zombie for now. And I just want to double check that I actually made this into scene behavior. I did, okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is find the random number here under number and text. Drag it up here, and again, you can do the same thing with the drop-down carrots. These are all the same code, but it only shows what is available, where these you can find out everything in the game. So we'll go to math, random number. I'm going to drag this actually and throw it away because we can just duplicate the first one once we're done. So random number between 0, because 0 is the far left side of the screen, and math minus, and we're going to do scene, screen width, keep that on width, minus 64. And the reason I did 64 is because that's how wide our zombie asset is. Now, if you were going to create something like this as an actor behavior instead of a scene behavior, and you're going to attach it to an actor instead of a scene, then you could use a code block under properties here that says width of actor. And you can probably change this to, nope, can't do actor type. That's why we're not using it. Okay, so we're going to copy and paste this, and we're going to change it to height, and the height of the thing of the actor is 128 instead of 64. You can also hold Alt and click and drag, and that duplicates as well. So we're going to drag this one into X and this one into Y. And if you remember, the difference between these is width of the screen and height of the screen, and 128 and 64. So what this does is creates the spawn actor, which we'll set up later, at X, which is going to be a random number between 0 and the end of the screen minus the actor height, or actor width. So somewhere between here, the side of the screen, and here minus 64. So it won't spawn your zombie anywhere further than this line here or somewhere in here over, so that way he doesn't show up halfway off the screen.